All right, man. Let's talk about Pro Football Focus ranking the Lions 12th best as far as the tight end position. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. We back. Marcy Sports Talk. We in the building. Appreciate the love, support. And the top five I'm trying to remember was the 49ers. Obviously, I think George Kittles is the best tight end in the game. Our tight end, TJ Hockenson, was working with Kittles this offseason. Still is. And we hope he has that Kittles year one, year two type of jump. Second was, I believe, the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce's like right there neck and neck. It's the best tight end with Kittles in some people's opinion. Then it went to three. I believe it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. I think Brady has something to do with that, kind of boosting their profile up a little bit. I think Cameron Brate was Jameis Winston's favorite target in the red zone. So I think with Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, I think Tampa Bay is going to run a lot of probably three tight end sets. They might even have O.J. Howard or Gronk in the slot and two tight ends on the line or one coming out the backfield. So they're going to be dangerous in the red zone. And I think better off with O.J. Howard's ability to block and Rob Gronkowski. I think they're going to be even more dangerous in the run game with Ronald Jones Jr. or the third than we thought before. Third was the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe. But I think fourth was Tampa. Either or. But Philadelphia got one of the best 1-2 punches out there with Goppert. I think he got punched in the jaw at a bar or something. And obviously they got Zach Ertz, who was phenomenal, especially for fantasy owners. So you can make a case that they the best duo, in the game. And then I think five was Tyler Higbee, and was it Gerald Everett for the Rams. Higbee, came out and had a really, really big year last year. So that was the top five that rounded off. And then you also had New Orleans and a few other teams ahead of us. Oakland was ahead of us. I think Darren Waller, after overcoming his addiction or whatever, he came out to be a really, really good tight end. But other than that, man, I think 12 is pretty good for them. I think 12 might be a little bit high for the Lions. I think people are anticipating, the Pro Football Focus is anticipating TJ Hockenson making that jump. I think that's what they anticipate. We also got Jesse James. I expected way more than Jesse James, especially if they paid him that money last year. But I think they really anticipating Hockenson making that jump this year. I think they anticipating that Darrell Bevell is going to find a better way to utilize his tight ends. I think he'll do more two tight end sets. That's going to help the running game. It's going to keep the offense pretty much an enigma for defense. If you go out there with two tight ends, especially if they don't want to utilize a fullback, you don't know if they're running a passing because Hockenson can block, James can block. They both can go out there and run routes. So I think you might see a lot of two tight end sets, especially if Amendola go down. And if you get two good two tight end sets, it's going to keep the defense guessing. It's going to make the run game better. It's going to make whoever started at right tackle, Crosby or Big V, and Taylor Decker, it's going to make them way better tackles. And I'm telling you, man, that should be the wave this year. They're running a lot of two tight end sets. You can send some out for route delays. You can send them both out on routes. You can do a lot of running. So, obviously, I believe Jesse James should be more of a starter than a third receiver with Amendola because you paid him all that money. You making more than Amendola, and also you coming out there with a lot of two tight end sets. They can't guess what you're going to do. They got to respect the run with that two tight end sets, two receivers. And also they got to respect the pass. You also, change the Marvins out, put Hall out there. You could do a play action. The Hall can get down the field and get a lot of deep balls, especially they got to pay attention to the tight ends. They got to pay attention to Galladay. But for a tight end position, that didn't really show last year and didn't really show up other than week one. And then, Jesse James was just a disappointment, but it wasn't his fault. It was lack of opportunities. I think the schematic and the blueprint they drew up for the offense, Darrell Bevell failed there. Bevell was everybody's MVP last year, especially when Stafford was healthy as far as, how good the offense looked. I'm not going to even twist it, but it's always things to improve on, and his thing is tight end play. That's what to improve on. But also, Baltimore was ahead of us with Mark Andrews and Darren Waller with the Raiders, and there was a few other teams. But, I think this is an anticipation ranking for the Lions. I think the Lions can, if they do it the right way, which Bevell hasn't been proven to be, great at utilizing tight ends, the Lions can put themselves in a position as, one of the best tight ends positions out there, teams out there, especially if they get some production out of James and Hockenson. So it's pretty much going to be a progression. We all hoping that Hockenson makes that jump that George Kittle's made and a few other tight ends made from year 1 to year 2. But it's a position that's the marination position. It takes time. I told you guys, Mike Ditka still has the best statistic rookie tight end season right now. You know what I'm saying? That's true to this day. So when you talk about tight end, you gotta learn how the blocking scheme, the blocking audibles, the route audibles. You gotta learn the H-back position, the slot position. It's just not the old prehistoric tight end where you line up at the end of the line and you block or you catch the ball. No, they asking them to do receiver things. Some of them lining up in the X position out wide, and they running post, they running comebacks, they running ends. You know, and the position has athletically pretty much is athletically evolved. So you got guys that's just as fast as receivers, bigger, stronger, and that could dominate tight ends. So, you know, everybody waited for Erica Ebron to really make that maturation process and make that jump, and the jump never came. A lot of people was waiting for Pettigrew to make that jump, and the jump never came. You know, and I hope that's not the case for Hockenson. The only thing I think that can stop Hockenson is probably injury at this point. You know, but it's also imperative that we get the most out of Jesse James. He was effective in Pittsburgh. He could be effective in Detroit. He shouldn't just be, you know, minimized to a red zone threat. You know, this dude can get out there and run routes and become a nightmare. They can run drags, cross routes, posts, deep in. He can box out. I mean, the Lions really should go out there and probably go into a 2 tight end set. That should be their base offense. That should open up holes. That should make the play action that much better, the run game that much better, and it should give plenty of opportunities to Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay on the outside. And you can throw Marvin Hall out there and let him go deep. That should really be the base offense. You know, you pay James all that money, get the most out of him. He can block and all that. And that's going to force teams to put that 3 linebackers out there, to take that extra nickel out of there, and you could do some great things when you get a hat on the hat in the run game. And the teams have shown no respect for the Lions' run game over the last damn near 20 years. You know, they have shown no respect for the run game. So if they choose to come out there with a nickel back, you know, we're going to run over them. They choose to go out there with three linebackers, well, we're going to get a hat in the hat, and we're going to see if they got to put 8 men in the box. You know, then we're going to go over their head. You know, however they want to do it. If they want to keep 2 men deep, 2 men under, then we're going to run the ball in between the tackles, and we just gonna play ball control. We're gonna chip at the offense. It don't matter however they want to go. That 2 tight end personnel is deadly. The Patriots had it down pat with Hernandez and Gronk. Couldn't nobody check that. And also you had Edelman in the slot. Oh my, or excuse me, Wes in the slot. Wes Welker, man, it's the perfect remedy to these defenses out here today. A lot of these defenses, they nickel back as they extra linebacker. They the starting guy. Or they come out here with that joker position and they put a safety in the box, and the safety can be able to cover, you know, man. And you got the guys like Deion Buchanan, Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger. My man's out there I love coming out the draft for 49ers, Jimmy Ward. Those are kind of like the dudes that can play safety, corner, and they can also basically start as a linebacker as the extra nickel out there. You know, so I think, you know, the 2 tight end personnel should be a staple for the Lions this year. You know, obviously I talked about trading Jesse James for David Njoku, and people say, oh no, Njoku, it's going to take more to get Njoku. Man, Njoku ain't even that, you know, he ain't really done much. So what's wrong with trading Jesse James in like a 5th or a 4th for him? But he has an injury issue. But the reason I say trade for Njoku is no indictment on Jesse James. It's just a perfect mix between, you know, all around receiver and all around tight end and Hockenson. And then you got a shifty, you know, tight end in Njoku. You can make some things happen. I mean, Josh McDaniels will have fun with James and Hockenson anyway. But that was just my opinion on it. But also I believe that you know, Cleveland ranked ahead of us with Njoku and Hooper. You know, I forgot Austin Hooper went over to Atlanta, and went over to Cleveland from Atlanta. I just completely forgot that. So we had to see. And Christian Hayden from Baltimore, running by Baltimore, he went over to Atlanta. So Hayden was a good tight end for Baltimore. He was just kind of overshadowed by Mark Andrews, who making a case as a great, you know, tight end in this league. He trending towards that. But yeah, I like the Lions, man. I just think they was a tad bit high in this one, but I take it. I think it's all predicated on the First, the jump in Hockenson. Second, the jump in philosophy and changing the blueprint of the offense and schematics of by Darrell Bevell. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. Appreciate the love, support. Just keep sharing the video. Want to make a donation to the channel? Just share the video, hit subscribe button, bell icon button. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All the links there, and also Cash App, PayPal in the description. And don't forget, check out the channel out, Goodfellas Sports TV, right here on YouTube. One time for the one time. We out.